explaining the backstory through viral videos.
If you've seen enough of my videos, you probably think you know what's in that suitcase, but you're wrong. In May of 2004, several pieces of luggage washed up on a shore in Virginia, each case containing the body parts of an unidentified person. Immediately, an investigation was launched, and a facial reconstruction of the body led to Melanie McGuire. Melanie, who was having an affair with her boss, had purchased a gun and shot her husband Bill multiple times. She then dismembered his body, packed it into 3 separate suitcases, and dumped them into Chesapeake Bay. And on July 19, 2007, at the age of 34, Melanie McGuire was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Serial killer facts that will haunt your nightmares. Part 4. Researchers used AI deepfake technology to compile the faces of every serial killer into one man. Dude looks like a psychopath. If you look anything like that, you're probably a serial killer. Serial killer Ed Kemper was friends with the police officers who were investigating his murders. They all hung out at a bar together called the Jury Room. His nickname was Big Ed, and when he confessed to them, they thought it was a joke. Jeffrey Dahmer once made a drink laced with sleeping pills for a guest, but accidentally drank it himself. He later woke up to find that his soon-to-be victim had robbed him while he was sleeping. In 1906, a Moroccan murderer was sentenced to be walled up alive after he was found guilty of killing 36 women. His cries for help were heard for 2 days straight before he went silent.
Out of the darkness, this guy appears and grabs her by the hair. He drags the woman off the porch. Her screams ring out as the struggle goes on. Then the guy delivers a grim warning.
We looked out the side window over here and witnessed him stomping on her and pulling her by her hair. It was awful.
That chilling video was recorded by a doorbell camera at a home here in Arcadia, California, about 20 miles from Los Angeles. The owner sent the footage to cops. They searched the neighborhood and say they found a woman being held captive inside this home right around the corner. Police identified the man as Robert Mendez and say he is the victim's estranged boyfriend. He was charged with suspicion of attempted murder and kidnapping.
He was beating on her. Looks like he even stomped on her, dragging her. She had suffered multiple injuries, enough to require hospital attention.
According to police, the woman...
And then I realized you're just as naive as I am. Oh, you're so traumatized, it makes me want to cry. You dumb motherfucker, I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true.
Now, I've been getting tagged in this video, so I'm here to explain the backstory to this whole thing. The woman you see in this video is named Dina Schlusser. She is an American woman from Texas who, on November 22nd, 2004, used a knife to amputate her 11-month-old baby Margaret's arms and legs, who also died as a result. Now, keep an open mind, Dina was not mentally healthy. She would have psychotic episodes, and she was also told not to be alone with the infant. On top of all that, after the day Margaret was born, she attempted slip and slide, and she was immediately hospitalized in a psychiatric ward, where she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder with psychotic features. Now, Dina claims she did this because she was commanded by God. She said she heard the voice of God and she did what she did, and amputated Margaret's arms and legs. When the police arrived, they found Dina with a gash on her arm covered in blood and the baby's limbs on the floor. As they took her out of her home to take her into custody, she was singing a Christian song while she was saying, "Thank you, Lord, thank you, Jesus," over and over again. Like and follow for more.
This woman came back from the grave to solve her own murder, and I'm obsessed with her. On February 21st, 1977, Teresita Bassa finished up her shift as a respiratory specialist at Edgewater Hospital in Chicago and returned home. Around 7:30 p.m., her friend Ruth Loeb called. They talked for about 20 minutes until Teresita said she had to go because she was expecting a male visitor. Apparently, Ruth had no follow-up questions about this. At 8:40 p.m., Teresita's neighbors smelled smoke, so they called the building's janitor, who called the fire department. Inside Teresita's apartment, firefighters found a mattress in the middle of the living room floor engulfed in flames. Under the mattress was the body of Teresita Bassa. She was undressed and she had been stabbed in the chest. Smoke and fire damage had eliminated all physical evidence and fingerprints, but it was clear that there had been a struggle and the apartment had been totally ransacked. The only solid piece of evidence was a note in the apartment that read, "Get theater tickets for AS." The case went cold after only a couple months. But then, in July of that same year, lead investigator Joe Stachula got a call from police in Evanston. They had spoken to a man named Dr. Jose Chua who had information about the murder of Teresita Basa. And that information had come from Teresita herself. Part 2 is up and it is linked in the comments.
Now, a lot of people haven't tagged me in this video, so I'm here to explain the backstory to this whole thing. Now, this story is actually too scary to be fucking true. After doing some intensive research, I found out what the buzz is around the dancing Serbian lady. This story got so big that it reached Serbian news. Apparently, there is a lady walking around the streets of Serbia at midnight, and all she does is stand in the middle of the street and dance side to side. Now, if you see her, you are advised to stay as quiet as possible and go unnoticed. Because if she sees you, she'll just pull out a knife and start chasing you. And you know the end of the story. Now, Serbian police did get word of this. However, they brushed it off as just a harmless prank, and I don't blame them for doing this. Now, in 2019, people stopped seeing sightings of the Serbian lady. However, she reappeared today in 2023. This time, she's had sightings more than ever. And she has been seen holding a knife more than usual. People in Serbia are advised to stay indoors and to not go outside at midnight. And Serbian police are now taking this very seriously, even opening up an investigation to get to the bottom of this, as to find out who is the dancing Serbian lady. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and follow for more.
Baby Burger, uno de los casos más traumáticos, atroces y perturbadores de la Deep Web. Todo comienza con una cámara de seguridad apuntando hacia una calle, en donde se observa a una mujer que va caminando con su bebé. Sabemos que es una bebé, porque la madre dio su declaración a la policía de lo que pasó aquella vez. Después, se observa que un automóvil llega y dos sujetos salen rápidamente. Uno de ellos toma a la mujer y la empuja, mientras que el otro sujeto toma a la bebé y la mete dentro del automóvil para así escapar. La toma del video continúa en un bosque. Los sujetos aparecen con un pasamontañas, para no ser identificados. Proceden a sacar a la bebé del automóvil, para llevarla a lo más profundo del bosque, hasta llegar a un lugar donde hay una mesa muy grande. El otro sujeto procede a traer un aparato, el cual en este momento del video está cubierto por una tela amarilla. Uno de los sujetos toma a la bebé y la coloca en la mesa, para empezar a abusar de ella, en un terrible acto donde escuchamos los gritos que son desgarradores. El volumen del video sube exageradamente, provocando la risa de uno de los sujetos. Después, procede a darle algunas bofetadas, a lo que comienza a sangrar de la boca. Uno de los sujetos toma a la bebé de los pies, el otro toma el artefacto quitándole la tela amarilla. Vemos que es una máquina para triturar troncos de árboles. Encienden la máquina y el sujeto posa frente a la cámara, dejando caer a la bebé. La cámara hace un enfoque a la caída de la bebé en dicha máquina, a lo que ésta se llena de sangre, igual que las camisas de los dos sujetos. Finalmente, la cámara enfoca a la carne molida que sale de la máquina, para que los dos sujetos comiencen a comerla.
World's Most Dangerous Conspiracy Theories, Season 2. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say that once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking a couple from each category until we reach Tier 10, the point of no return. Alright, Season 2, welcome to Tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about Ouija boards. A Ouija board is a board printed with numbers, letters, and symbols in hopes of communicating with the dead. The history of the Ouija board is just as mysterious as the game itself. A woman named Helen Peters claimed to be a very strong psychic and actually invented the board herself. Eventually, Helen Peters' brother-in-law named Elijah wanted to get these things patented so that he could sell these everywhere. Helen Peters and Elijah traveled everywhere trying to get this patent, but the offices said they couldn't release a patent unless they had proof of it working. But consequently, nobody in these offices wanted to even get close to the board for unknown reasons. Until one day they traveled to Washington, D.C., and the chief of patent walked in the room and said, "You don't know me and I don't know you." Then he said, "If this board can tell me my name, I will sign the patent for you right now." The board apparently spelled the man's name. He walked out of the office office, looked at Helen Peters and said, "You got your patent." Years later, Helen Peters and Elijah had a falling out, and Helen said she no longer wanted anything to do with this board. Elijah, on the other hand, continued selling these boards until one day he fell off of a 3-story building. He actually survived the fall, and some bystanders saw his body laying in the road. They picked him up, put him in the car, and they hit a bump in the road, and his broken rib pierced through his heart. After that, the family sold the rights to the board, and all the way up until Helen Peters' death, her last words is, "Do not play the Ouija board, it lies." And now you can buy a Ouija board from any store, and they're marketed to children. So the question remains, are these boards just a hoax, or was Helen Peters trying to warn us of something much darker? Make sure to like and follow for tier 2.
Some creepy shit just happened, and I tried to explain it on my secret account, but I didn't explain it really well. So I'm gonna talk about it on here. Mind you, I didn't even think this was creepy until somebody else said it was, and then I started to realize, and I was like, oh shit. So I was on my way home from work, right, and I stopped at karaoke night to say hi to a few friends, and I left early because I was supposed to get home early to help my mom get my stepdad up the stairs because he just got out of the hospital. Anyway, so I left karaoke night, I said goodbye to my friends, whatever, and I like started walking, and there was this cat. This cat walked right by me, looked exactly like my kitten. And like, I thought the cat got out when my mom was helping my stepdad down the stairs to bring him to the hospital earlier. So I started following him. I was like, Mr. Kitten! And like, I followed this cat for a really long time, like down different streets. Like I did not want to lose this cat. Like, I was following this cat for like 20 fucking minutes before this cat turned onto my street and started running. So like, for whatever reason, I started recording because like, he was like getting out of eye shot. Like, I wanted to see if I could like zoom in to like see him. Kitty! And then like, we went further down the street. We were on my street now. And like, the cat turned and ran up my staircase. So like, I started running to like follow him. Like, at that point I was like, yes, this is definitely my cat. Like, he knows where he lives, you know? And I got there and the fucking cat was gone. Where'd the kitty go? Like, there's a lot of snow by my stairs, but like, I heard the cat under the stairs, right? And so like, I trudged through the snow to like look under. There was no cat. Like, the cat was not fucking there. He just disappeared. And then I realized the porch lights were on, and I was like, oh shit, my parents got home before I did. Because I had spent so long following this cat, like, I completely lost track of time. Like, I forgot, like, I was supposed to, like, help my mom bring my stepdad upstairs. And I was supposed to be the one to turn the porch lights on when I got home first. And so, like, the lights were already on, and I was like, oh shit. Like, I was freaking out. Like, I lost the cat. Like, I didn't know where the cat went. It's like, I got inside, like, I was ready to cry. And, like, I walk in, all the lights are already on, like, my parents are home, and both of my cats are just sitting in the hallway. And like, I was talking to my parents about it. I was like, I'm sorry I got home so late. Like, I was following this cat. Like, I thought it was Mr. Kitten, you know? And they told me they were glad I followed the cat, but like, the cats had never left the house. They're both indoor cats. Like, Mr. Kitten is a runner. So like, I was right to think that like, that was Mr. Kitten, but like, he was there the whole time. The cats did not step foot outside the house. So whose fucking cat was that? And why did it take me down like all these different streets? And how did it know exactly where I fucking lived? And why did it disappear at the fucking staircase? And for anyone wondering what happened to my stepdad, he fell earlier today, and like, so he's on crutches now, and like, he had to wear a neck brace for a little bit, but he's okay. But what the fuck?
Video shows a standard car parked on the side of the road in the middle of the day. However, this video takes a significantly more drastic turn in just a moment, as out of nowhere, a massive truck turns the corner and loses a tire while doing so, which just so happens to roll directly toward the car that's parked on the road, causing some pretty bad damage to it in the process. In 1986, a nuclear reactor ended up exploding in Ukraine, which was still a part of the Soviet Union at the time. The blast blew off a 2,000-ton lid off the reactor and sent out 400 times more of a radioactive fallout than the Hiroshima bomb. About 600,000 people were exposed to high doses of radiation, and more than 350,000 people were evacuated. The incident killed more than 30 operators and firefighters within 3 months. 237,000 people were diagnosed with acute radiation syndrome, with some dying in a few weeks. April 22, 2011, a powerful E4 tornado touched down in the St. Louis, Missouri metropolitan area. 177-mile-per-hour winds were reported. This was the strongest tornado to hit St. Louis since 1967. Along its 21-mile journey, the tornado made its way to an airport nearby, and this security camera video shows the terrifying moment it approached.